video, let us look at COBIT aspect of IT governance. We have seen COBIT little more in the previous section of IT organization. One thing COBIT clearly conveys is governance is different from management, and it gives you a framework. So as you can see here, business needs to be sent to governance. Governance passes them to the management. And if you look at what's inside this governance and management, governance has three boxes: evaluate, direct, and monitor, EDM, what they call. So evaluate needs to evaluate what business is asking for, what are their needs, and then direct to the management so that the management plans what to build and builds and then runs those applications and then monitors how they're running and then reports back that to the monitor aspect of the governance. And ultimately for the again evaluation box gets fed the information from the monitor and the management feedback and business needs. So this picture tells that COBIT gives a framework to support governance and also management in terms of their objectives. So to understand a little more about what this EDM, evaluate, direct, and monitor, evaluate current and future external and internal stakeholder needs, including regulations and compliance requirements. Direct the implementation of mechanisms and projects to ensure needs are met with prioritization. Monitor performance and assess the outcomes of the initiatives and whether the stakeholders' needs are met. So that's the EDM definitions here. But the way COBIT is, I think you have seen before, it has total 40 objectives, governance and management combined. But if you see, governance has only 5 objectives. So let's briefly look at all these 5 objectives. The first one is EDM01 is ensured governance framework setting and maintenance. Analyze and articulate the requirements of governance of enterprise IT. Continuously identify and engage with enterprise stakeholders. So evaluate the current and future design of governance of enterprise IT. So that is what the first one. And the second one is EDM02, ensured benefits delivery, optimize the value to the business from investments. And the third one, ensured risk optimization. So what it says, ensure that IT related enterprise risk doesn't exceed the enterprise risk appetite and risk tolerance. So continuously examine and evaluate the effect of risk on current and future use of IT in the enterprise. And fourth one is ensured resource optimization. Ensure that adequate and sufficient business and IT related resources are available to support enterprise objectives effectively and at optimal cost. The fifth objective here is ensure stakeholder engagement. What it says is ensure that stakeholders are identified and engaged in the IT governance system. So the reason I'm showing you all these 5 objectives are, first thing, there is a COBIT framework for enterprises to understand. There are objectives for governance and management, and these are the 5 gives you enterprise view of what are the needs to ensure there is a proper governance. And you have a placeholder to go back and check. If you want to know more about this, you can Google them and find out more about COBIT and more about these 5 objectives. Because what COBIT gives you is a set of activities for each of these objectives also. So you'll be able to communicate this. But irrespective of that, Now your awareness of governance is improving in terms of that governance, even from a COBIT framework point of view, has benefits delivery. We're calling it as a value delivery, and risk optimization, resource optimization, and ultimately stakeholder engagement, which is alignment of the business needs. So one other angle of understanding COBIT is looking at what are the governance system components. We have seen five objectives, but now we are looking at what are the components which are used in this governance of enterprise IT. These are the seven components which are part of this governance system, and we can look at into all these seven. But the primary point here is all these components interact with each other and results into holistic enterprise IT governance. Each company must tailor all these components to make it applicable and effective for their organization. So even though this gives you a framework of seven components, each company have to adapt to their needs. They may have to start with small and adapt more practices eventually. So let's look at the first one here, principles, policies, and frameworks. I like to show this in this diagram here. Principles help to make policies. Policies help to make procedures, which will influence the behaviors of the individuals. So to look at principles are the statements fundamental to desired purpose and vision of the company. It's like Google has a principle of do no evil or something like that. So every company has some principles, and it's kind of value of those companies, and they derive into policies. Policies are with the principles what company believes in and likes to follow. Like, for example, HR gives you a vacation policy. That means they're clearly stating what are the do's and don'ts in the vacation policies or compensation policy or safety policy in the company. So there are policies set for this kind of expected behaviors. And procedures are steps on how those policies can be implemented. And these procedures will help eventually the behaviors are guided by the company's policies in the day-to-day activities and interactions to the people. So yes, this is not very exciting topic of understanding principles, policies, and procedures, but this is very core to a governance to understand what principles are we going to act on, what are our policies, or in other words, what are the do's and don'ts for how we want to operate a team or IT unit or even a company aspect too. Now moving on to look at other components here, processes. As name it says, processes are certain steps and activities put together to create a desired output. Organization structure helps to define the decision-making authority and guides teams hierarchy. And the fourth one is a culture, is what influences individuals and teams to act and operate towards common objective. Well, each topic can be much more deeper dive and can have a lot more information. But for our purposes, we will keep it in this level only, high level. And this, as you can see here, fifth and sixth and seventh are resources, information, service, infrastructures, applications, or people. These are all the resources available in the company, and they are guided with these principles, policies, and frameworks, and along with the process and organizational structures, and ultimately culture. So all these components is what makes the company to run, but the governance having these components will help to set these guidelines for the teams to follow. So that is what COBIT governance helps to for the companies who wants to have some framework to set up a governance a team or governance structure. So we will see resources more in the next video, because that's where we are going to see about resource management.